Hello everybody and welcome to the face reading of the People in the News. The nomination of Ben Carson as a Secretary of the Office of Housing and Urban Development did not make much news, but I chose Ben Carson for face reading way before he became a part of the United States government. I started gathering photographs for this reading when Dr. Carson announced that he was running for president. I did some reading about his life and was very impressed. In fact, I thought then that he could make a great president. If he, in addition to many wonderful qualities and ideas, also had a loud mouth, were willing to stab people in the back, willing to lie, cheat, manipulate, be a hypocrite, and few other qualities that a real politician usually possesses. But he does not have these qualities, so he really did not have a chance. He is an interesting person from morphological perspective, and I hope looking at Dr. Carson's inner qualities will be as interesting for you as it is for me. So Dr. Ben Carson, ladies and gentlemen, the reason he is an interesting person, at least to me, is because before he decided to run for president, and before he became a super famous and successful surgeon, Dr. Carson founded a Carson Scholars Fund, helping children to learn how to read and to enjoy reading. And in a little more than 20 years, the foundation has now 160 reading rooms in 16 cities all around the United States. During the last 20 years, Dr. Carson also managed to write 10 books and became one of the most famous and knowledgeable and experienced pediatric brain surgeons in the world. 4 years ago, he retired and got involved with politics. So let us look now at what in his morphology helped him to accomplish all this. Is it his innate intelligence? Is it just good fortune? Is it pure will and determination? All or none of the above? Here he is. What do you think about his face? His face or personality is, it looks like Neptune. But his top is too square for Neptune, if you remember how real Neptune looks. Then perhaps he is Mars, but the lower part of his face is too roundish for him being a Mars. And remember what we say, if one looks a bit as one face and a bit of another face, more than likely he or she possess qualities of both. By the way, if you want to learn more about different faces, you can look up a whole separate YouTube called Face Reading 101 Part 2. So let's look at Ben Carson as a Neptune. What do we know about Neptune personality? Of all pure personalities, the Neptune are most spiritually inclined. They're seekers from the get-go, and by the age of 30 are usually well underway on their spiritual journey. The Neptune are imaginative, creative, and resourceful. They can master any vocation or art as long as they're interested and inspired. The Neptune often have difficulties in personal relationships because their sense of right or wrong is self-determined and does not always correspond with social norms. Now, Dr. Carson is also Mars. Mars, of course, we know, is most action-oriented, can be quite impatient, has short attention span, short fuse, would rather fight than negotiate. You see, all opposite to the qualities of Neptune. But there must be something of Mars personality there for Carson to have the Mars facial features. And there are. Mars is also courageous, non-compromising, and generous. So it seems that Dr. Carson somehow learned to manifest the best of each personality, avoiding the traps of either. How did it happen? More than likely it was his education. The values, as he tells us in his autobiography, that his mother imparted to him. to uphold those values, he had to enforce the best of his inclinations. And what happened to him, what gave him the energy to fight, to climb uphill, to become the best of his personality rather than conveniently slide down and to become the worst of it, was his temperament, his energy type. Let's look at it. And you can easily determine by looking at his profile that predominantly Ben Carson is what? Yes, a bilious, which means that he is intellectual, natural leader, willful, long-distance runner rather than a short-distance runner, which means he can endure, he can continue plowing through, working hard, whether it's in sports, work, or having fun. He's a long-distance runner and a long-term planner, has great energy and endurance, and needs little sleep. Being a doctor, needing little sleep is quite handy. He's active and organized and a positive pessimist. That is, when he encounters a problem, which he usually seeks out, it does not discourage him. It fuels his will to overcome. But that's not all about Carson's temperament. Look at what he acquired. Look at the blue line. He acquired a little, you can see a flash of fat under the chin, which adds to his wonderful, powerful, bilious temperament of strength and commitment, a lymphatic quality of patience, tolerance, and flexibility. And yet there is something else you may detect in his profile, and that is a nervous cast. You see red line, which tells us that Ben Carson also has an unusually quick mind, is very sensitive, can be super charming, very creative, imaginative, and is fun to be around. He's able to understand complex ideas of others, and he's also able to quickly come up with his own ideas. And finally, he's quite able and willing to communicate, to speak his mind, see the huge space between tragus and antitragus, orange arrows. To summarize, Ben Carson is a powerhouse with great endurance and will to overcome obstacles, courage to speak his mind and stand his ground no matter what, unbound creativity, patience, and spirituality that gives all his efforts meaning. With these qualities, he became one of the greatest surgeons of our time, a best-selling author, a restless, charitable fighter for educating our youth. He could have become a great president, and he will be undoubtedly a very good Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. And that is all for Ben Carson. Thank you for being with me today. Peace to all who want to live in peace.